Good afternoon, everyone, online and physical audience. Why is this jumping to the... No, there was another slide. Anyways, we chose to approach the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda as a multi-attribute, multi-objective optimization problem using the industrial engineering and operations research field for mathematically modeling the problem and identifying its feasible region of solutions, and then pinpointing or finding the optimal possible solutions using a smart algorithm. There were several important contributions, best of which is what we call the innovative pro-poor environmentally green engineering standard. And we will see how, if developing countries would use such a standard, they can easily build their robust steps towards rural sustainable development. The main challenge is the scarcity of the resources and the scarce resource allocation, particularly if one chooses to trade off between the different objectives, as in our case here, to address all the 17 SDGs as one package. The second main challenge is the need to use high-level engineering expertise in identifying the integrated solutions that will successfully address as many SDGs as possible in one action or in as few actions as possible for rural development, using proven green technologies, as you will see in the proposed solution. So in investigating what needs to be done in terms of major actions to ensure achieving the sustainable development, we found out that in global reports, it has been identified, those reports have identified 4 major actions for national governments and the international community to focus on. First, there need to be access to the poor to basic services, and we all know that, such as clean energy, safe drinking water, healthcare, nutritious food, quality education, and so on. Second, there is a strong need to develop the appropriate infrastructure, such as resilient housing, good drainage and sewage systems, transportation, and so forth. Third, it is important to implement pro-poor social protection measures and systems against the exploitation and the marginalization that's taking place. And fourth, we need the right set of sound and practical policy frameworks to allow us implement the required solution. So we actually, in our research, we realized that these same 4 actions came to be among the main targets of SDG 1, which is related to poverty eradication. So in our solution, from among the 1969 targets, the targets that have direct impact on any of those 4 actions were identified, regrouped under each of their relevant action. This actually allowed us, as you see in the figure, to reduce the 169 targets to 48 targets only, and still address all the 17 SDGs, while also allowing us to easily come up with a new conceptual framework to solve the SDG problem. This is the conceptual framework that we came up with. This allowed us to actually subgroup the SDGs into 3 categories, namely 7 SDGs under the basic rights and services SDG, represented by the yellow circle, 9 SDGs were the green economy development SDGs, and these mainly tackle the infrastructure part, and the policies for partnership set, represented by the blue circle, and basically consisting of all required policies, policy instruments, measures regulatory systems to successfully allow building robust partnerships in the areas of finance, technology, governance, capacity building, with institutional coherence. Okay, applying the modified dynamic strategic fit, which we designed, the interlinkages between the 48 selected targets were actually identified and transformed into practical integrated actions. The algorithm produced 6 main or major actions, which proved to be game changers in solving the SDG problem. I'm going to go through them very quickly. Number 1, a well-designed poverty reduction and social protection policy that will enact the principle of leaving no one behind, and this would focus on the most vulnerable and most impoverished 20 to 30% of each region's population. This was the case actually of Brazil between 2003 and 2011, and they did very well. The second game changer is adopting our new systems standard, and this is basically intended to foster accelerated sustainable consumption and production patterns in developing countries, taking into consideration the scarcity of raw material and goods with added value for construction and manufacturing. Using the standard led to the development of innovative examples of infrastructure in housing, safe drinking water, energy, transport, etc. This allowed, for example, poor villages that can be transformed into what we called agro-based technopolis or industrial-based technopolis, depending on the natural resources in that specific region. And these are kind of new societies that will be built with a concentration of technology-based businesses. So the biggest standard hence allows for the development of a fully green economy detached from environmental degradation. So the first implementation step here is to actually be able to produce a green technologies guide as a standard for sustainable development implementation. This is a good, after extensive research in well-proven engineering approaches, such as the integrated whole system design approach that were undertaken, this led to possible development, for example, of semi-urban rural housing projects. The interesting part is that with the complex engineering work that went into the design of the projects, those buildings would have the ability actually to produce 250 to 300 kilowatt of electricity, ability to produce sufficient drinking water, uses an aquaponic system to produce nutritious food, including fish, poultry, and fresh vegetables. All building furnitures are actually made of environmentally green material. All doors, windows, and plumbing parts are made of PVC, and so forth. You see, there is a long list where you're actually tackling serious problems in rural areas. Now, all tenants would therefore have clearly marked and identified fixed addresses, a requirement to secure bank loans and other financial services. This is how the project actually looks like in terms of design. And these are actually the fully furnished apartments where everything is going to be made out of, as I said, environmentally green material like granite, PVC, or fabricated cast. There is a call through the PEG standard to use fabricated pre-finished volumetric construction, where 80% of the module would be built off-site. There is also a call to use the concept of design for manufacturing and assembly, and this actually would save, improve construction productivity by up to 40% in terms of manpower and time saving. This is a Chinese company that was actually able to build a 10-story apartment in just 28 hours, 45 minutes, transported all the parts from the factory to construction site inside an ordinary container, and they used a special steel plate that they have developed for structural support that is actually much lower in cost to produce and is 10 times lighter and 100 times stronger to withstand earthquakes. I'm about finished here. The agro-technopolis, I have what, 1 minute? 5 minutes. Oh, beautiful. More than what I need. The PEC standard actually recommended even the type of transportation within the network of those technopolis that is relatively very cheap, fast, and effective. First, it recommended what we call the historic 1960 aerotrains. And these aerotrains, actually, there's no need for steel railways or steel wheels infrastructure. It easily glides over an air cushion like a guided hovercraft with speeds up over 400 miles per hour operated by an electric motor. And this would definitely reduce the energy consumption and travel time between the different technopolis areas. This is for best situated for countries with long distance, poor roads and poor railway transportation networks. Also, the standard recommended PV powered segways and electric motorbikes for individual intercity transportation. The fourth game changer is actually the financial model, calling for adoption of the cooperative governance and financial model. This gives actually the opportunity for global private sector to come in and start localized mass production of predefined set of green products, possibility of creating small and medium enterprises, plus microfinance facilitated by the fixed addresses each family will have within the housing problems. Game changer number 5, the creation of sustainable development, proven technology, education, and utilization. And education and utilization centers of excellence, which is well related to the SDGs Universities Initiative. And this is actually calling for capacitating and training unemployed college graduates as the required critical mass of technical force and practitioners, and to be deployed back in the targeted rural areas to support the SDGs implementation. Technology universities and research institutes worldwide would be called to design the online capacity building platform with definitely specific TVET modules for selected technologies. And the 6th game changer would be high-speed internet service offered for all rural areas to ensure possible governance by e-government and models like that. Now, the PEG standard is actually contains about 12 protocols, and honestly, I'm not going to go through those. But if anyone is interested, we can actually talk later. So basically, I'm summarizing the 6 suggested messages is that you have a strong poverty reduction and social protection policy, high-speed internet connection, the adoption of the proper environmentally green engineering systems standard, the creation of a series of virtual knowledge hubs for sustainable development technologies, education, and utilization, and the development of those agro-based technopolis or industrial-based technopolis to supply most of the rural poor villages with the missing healthcare, education, clean energy, and so forth. And last but not least, use the co-op financial model to run and manage those technopolis to allow banks and global private sector to come in, be attracted, and have high return on investment as partners to the developed local communities. And thank you very much.